Hello, and a very warm welcome to Frugal Live in UK. We are delighted you have chosen to tune in. Today, we are not simply discussing how to save. We are exploring how to curate a life of value. Our team has prepared some truly exquisite insights, designed to meet you exactly where you are, whilst illuminating the path forward. You see, this episode goes beyond the mundane task of improving your day. As we like to say, this is about reclaiming your life. Whether you have been with us for a while, or are joining the Frugal Live in UK family for the very first time because a friend kindly shared this with you, we are honoured by your presence. The agenda is set, the tea is poured, and the conversation promises to be enlightening. Without further ado, let us begin.
Welcome to Frugal Live in UK, where we turn market trends into monetization strategies.
It's time to maximize your earnings.
Have you ever noticed those people who just, they seem to glide through life with this strange sense of calm when it comes to money? They aren't relying on massive inheritances or some extraordinary income, but the stress and anxiety that grips most of us, it just doesn't seem to touch them.
They are the exact focus of our deep dive today. And when you finally look past the surface, you realize that calm isn't from luck. It's built on what the money strategist calls penny choices.
Right.
So our mission is to dissect the philosophy behind those choices and specifically move away from this really painful, restrictive idea of frugality as just deprivation.
And reframe it.
And reframe it entirely.
Yeah.
As a mindset of caretaking.
We have a stack of source material here, transcripts from an analysis of 22 unusual yet effective habits. And what's so fascinating is that these aren't extreme, unsustainable tips.
Not at all.
They're subtle, almost invisible shifts in behavior that just compound over time, making financial choices feel intentional, not rushed or reactive.
We are looking for that quiet discipline, the kind that doesn't just save you money, but fundamentally builds freedom.
Okay, so let's jump straight into that core psychological foundation then, because the whole philosophy, it really starts with an identity transformation.
It does, shifting from operating as a consumer to operating as a caretaker.
Okay, let's unpack this. I mean, we are all trained from birth to be consumers, constantly wanting the latest model, constantly buying new, prioritizing novelty.
And disposal.
But the caretaker, which is laid out so clearly in tip 5, they operate completely differently.
The caretaker's defining principle is to repair before you replace. And what's fascinating here is how that single habit, fixing your old leather boots, mending clothes, extending the life of your car, it fundamentally changes your relationship with your own possessions.
How so?
A caretaker appreciates what they already own. They view items not as these disposable commodities, but as tools that have to be maintained.
This sounds simple, but I think most of us avoid repair because it just feels like a hassle. We calculate the time cost of a repair versus the instant gratification of just replacing it.
Of course.
So how does the strategist make this mental shift actually stick?
By tying it directly to the biggest financial win of all.
Yeah.
Immediate savings. I mean, repairing is almost always cheaper than replacing.
Right.
When you embrace that mindset, suddenly you are not a victim of planned obsolescence anymore. You are in control. It reinforces this idea that what you already possess holds value.
That sets the stage for one of the most provocative ideas in the sources, which is tip 1, the principle to live on less than you think. On the surface, this sounds like self-punishment. If I make $100, I can't just magically survive on 10. It feels unrealistic.
And that's where the analysis needs some depth. The value isn't in reaching that, impossible extreme. It's in the strategic attempt behind it.
The attempt.
Yes. The strategist uses this concept as a form of resistance training for your budget. The attempt alone forces you to separate what is truly essential from all the financial noise we buy every single month.
So if I'm currently living paycheck to paycheck, and I decide for just 1 month to try and live on, say, 75% of my income, even if I fail and only hit 85%, what have I actually gained?
You've gained perfect clarity.
Yeah.
You now know exactly where the waste is. You see your remaining income as something you need to stretch and maximize, not just something to burn through on autopilot.
It changes how you view money itself.
That subtle shift. Viewing money as a resource to be leveraged rather than a commodity to be consumed, that quietly builds your financial freedom in the background.
But that attempt, that struggle, it has to be backed by something meaningful or you'll just burn out.
Precisely. And that's tip 8. It highlights the emotional backbone. If frugality is just about numbers or rules, it is totally unsustainable. But when the why is strong enough, it changes everything.
So when the reason is freedom, or having the time and money to take care of a family member, or, removing that paralyzing anxiety of credit card debt forever,
Right.
frugality stops feeling like a sacrifice.
It feels like you're protecting your future self or actively building the future you desperately want. That clear purpose, it aligns your spending naturally.
And that purpose leads directly to a deeper appreciation for value, which is why tip 12, embracing a form of minimalism, isn't really about having empty rooms.
No, it's about recognizing the psychological trap of consumer goods.
And here's where it gets really interesting. Most purchases deliver this massive shot of dopamine, that moment of excitement.
Followed by years of it just sitting on a shelf or stuffed in a drawer or accumulating dust.
Exactly. So minimalism in this context is the system that eliminates those pointless, low-return purchases that drain your wallet and just clutter your mind.
Okay, so if the mindset of the caretaker is the foundation, then the next question is, how do we protect that foundation from the two biggest forces that try to tear it down?
Impulse and inertia.
Impulse and inertia. And this brings us to the systems the strategist advocates for bypassing our own, human discipline.
The power of automation is absolutely key here. Tip 7 flips the saving habit on its head. And honestly, this is a game changer for almost everyone.
Instead of the traditional pain-inducing method of trying to save whatever's left at the end of the month.
Which for most people is zero.
It's zero. The secret is to move the money the moment you get paid.
Yeah.
You automate the transfer to savings or investments immediately.
It's the ultimate defensive strategy.
It is. It protects you from your own impulses and builds wealth behind the scenes. It makes the money invisible before you even have a chance to spend it.
That's brilliant because it just removes the decision point entirely. You're relying on a system you set up once, not on your tired, depleted willpower at 5 p.m. on a Tuesday.
Right.
But what if your income is variable? If you're a freelancer or you work on commission, how can you automate when the numbers are always inconsistent?
The strategist suggests setting your automation at a sustainable, sort of rock-bottom minimum, maybe 5% of your lowest expected income. Then you use tools, that's tip 3, to manage the surplus.
So technology helps.
Frugality works best when it requires no extra mental effort. We should be using apps that automatically check gas prices, search coupon codes, or compare prices instantly. Those small savings, $5 here, $40 there, they compound dramatically over a decade.
And you barely lifted a finger.
Exactly.
And tip 2 reinforces this whole systems idea, but related to extra income. They tell us to live off one core income stream and treat every extra dollar raises, bonuses, side hustle income.
It's a gift to your future. Think about two friends who both get a $5,000 raise. Friend A upgrades their car payment and starts eating out more.
The classic lifestyle creep.
Friend B automatically routes that entire $5,000 raise into a retirement account and keeps living exactly as they did before. For the first year, they look identical. 10 years later.
Oh, it's a massive difference.
Friend B is tens of thousands of dollars wealthier, thanks purely to leveraged inertia. They didn't even feel the sacrifice because the money never hit their lifestyle.
So if automation handles the money you haven't seen yet, then the waiting rule is the mechanism that forces your emotions to sit in the passenger seat for the money that's currently in your wallet. This is tip 13, and it's psychologically potent.
It's so simple, yet it's almost magical in its effect. When you see something you want, you just write it down and apply a mandatory delay.
Okay, what's the delay?
7 days for small things, 30 days for moderate things, and 90 days for big, high-ticket items.
But wait, hang on. Doesn't waiting 90 days mean you might miss a necessary sale or a limited time promotion? Isn't that actually more expensive sometimes?
That's a great question, but the strategist says the cost of missing a sale is almost always outweighed by the number of unnecessary purchases you avoid entirely. The magical outcome is that most items you thought you desperately needed, they just fade from your mind. The pause saves money not by blocking purchases, but by forcing you to see which desires were temporary illusions versus genuine needs.
And if you still want it after 90 days,
then you can buy it guilt-free because the need is real. But you've already saved thousands by eliminating everything else that was just an impulse.
that intentional pause is a total system reset.
We will return to our agenda in just a moment. I wanted to take this brief interlude to extend a personal invitation. If today's conversation is adding value to your life, I invite you to click the like button below. Hitting the like button below is a small gesture that makes a tremendous difference for us. And, if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing. It is the finest way to ensure you never miss an insight, and we would be absolutely thrilled to welcome you officially into our community. Thank you for your company. Now, let's get back on track.
Which brings us to tip 14, suggesting intentional no-spend days, weeks, or even a full month reset.
A month-long reset forces a confrontation with your default habits. It reveals how often you spend simply out of boredom or habit, rather than genuine necessity.
Oh, yeah, the 5 o'clock, I'm tired, I'll just order something.
Exactly that. When you deny yourself the ability to order takeout or buy a random item at the drugstore, you become immediately aware of the habits you use to fill time. And that awareness is the first step toward control.
Because you can't fix what you can't see. Which brings us to tracking. Tip 15. Most people think they know where their money goes.
They think they do. But tracking is like turning on the lights in a room that was dark for years.
Yeah.
You uncover forgotten purchases, quietly renewed subscriptions, and fees you never even noticed.
Tip 16 is explicit about that. Eliminating fees.
These are the tiny leaks that siphon away thousands. Bank fees, convenience fees, late fees. I mean, eliminating fees is arguably the easiest, most immediate financial win in existence because it requires zero sacrifice.
So if that quiet discipline is the foundation, let's transition into the strategic levers, the major expenses that can truly transform a financial life if they're addressed.
And we start with something people rarely associate with cash flow: health.
Right. Tip 17 positions health as a critical financial asset. People often treat health and finance as completely separate issues.
But financially speaking, they are inextricably linked.
The correlation is massive. Health problems, chronic illness, unexpected medical bills, medications, or even just missing work due to an injury that can drain a person's finances faster and deeper than almost anything else.
It's the ultimate unbudgeted expense.
So what's the strategy?
The strategy here is counterintuitive and highly empowering. Eating well, staying active, sleeping enough, and protecting your mental health. These are low-cost habits with extremely high financial returns.
So you're investing in your future self financially?
You're investing small amounts of time and effort now to save decades of potential financial hardship later. It's an investment that pays compound interest in the form of avoided future expenses.
That reframing is powerful. Health is a financial firewall. Okay, speaking of strategic investment, let's tackle the common misconception that frugality means always buying the cheapest item possible. Tip 20 says this is one of the biggest mistakes you can make in the Caretaker Philosophy.
Because true frugality means buying fewer things, and crucially, buying better things. The mindset shift is away from looking at the raw price tag and focusing instead on the cost per use.
Give us an example that sticks, something that shows the math.
Let's use winter boots. You can buy a pair of cheap boots for $50 that look great but fall apart after 2 seasons. So you're spending $25 per year.
Okay, makes sense.
Or you can invest $250 in a high-quality, durable, repairable pair of boots that lasts 10 years.
Which seems like a lot up front.
It does. But your cost per use drops from $25 per year in the cheap scenario to, wait, what's the math? Oh, yeah, $2.50 per year.
Wow.
Quality is not about luxury. It's about eliminating the need for constant replacement. It's the caretaker valuing longevity over that instant gratification.
Now we have to address the two biggest money leaks for the average person: housing and food. Together, they can easily consume 60% of your income.
Housing is the largest expense, and tip 18 covers strategies here. Even small changes create massive results. The most powerful strategy mentioned is house hacking.
Which doesn't mean moving into a closet.
No, not at all. It means intentionally structuring your living situation to reduce or eliminate your housing cost. Like renting out a spare bedroom, using a garage as an accessory dwelling unit, or leveraging a duplex where the rental income covers your mortgage.
When your largest expense shrinks dramatically, the rest of your financial life becomes so much easier overnight. It's the ultimate financial lever.
And food is the second massive leak, but it's the easiest to control. Tip 9 highlights that bulk cooking is a superpower.
A superpower. I like that.
It really is. When you plan meals and cook large batches, you instantly eliminate food waste, you stop ordering expensive takeout because you're too tired, and you save money, time, and stress all at once.
And tip 11 reminds us of the silent money killer, paying for drinks.
What is this one?
We are talking about bottled water, soda, that daily gourmet coffee, restaurant cocktails, these are incredibly high-profit items. The strategist once calculated that bringing his own coffee saved him enough money over 5 years to cover 2 full months of mortgage payments.
It's the constant unconscious drip that empties the bucket. And finally, linking back to that caretaker identity, we have to talk about basic practicality. Tip 22 is about the value of basic DIY skills.
Right. You don't need to be a master plumber, but learning how to handle simple maintenance tightening, a leaky faucet, unclogging a drain.
Assembling furniture correctly.
It avoids those immediate hundreds of dollars service call fees just for someone to show up. Most household problems are far easier than we allow ourselves to believe.
So, to synthesize this entire philosophy, what we see is that the caretaker lifestyle isn't about restriction. It's about seeing your life and your resources clearly. Every dollar you keep and every habit you shift becomes a quiet, deliberate building block of future freedom. The transformation doesn't come from a lottery win or a sudden bonus. It comes from that unseen effort leading to enduring control.
So what does this all mean for you listening? If you adopt these small compounding choices, you tap into a broader financial principle. It's kind of like the rule of 72, which teaches that small, consistent growth can double into something massive much quicker than you realize.
Right.
These habits lead to a life where money flows with purpose rather than just leaking away unconsciously.
And the key is not to feel the pressure to implement all 22 tips at once. I mean, that just leads to paralysis. Start with just 1 or 3.
Keep it small.
Exactly. Maybe the waiting rule, perhaps automating your savings the moment your paycheck hits. Or maybe just committing to 2 bulk cooking sessions a week and just observe the quiet, powerful shift toward control.
And once those initial habits settle in, you no longer feel like you are fighting against your finances or even your own impulses. You feel like you are finally the strategic guide of your own money.
And that is the moment your life truly begins to shift powerfully toward the future you want to protect and build.
And just like that, we draw today's session to a close. Thank you for investing your most valuable resource, your time, with us today. It is my sincere hope that you leave this conversation not just informed, but inspired to curate a life of intention. Remember, true frugality is not about having less, it is about making room for more of what truly matters. If you found value in our time together, please do share this episode with someone who might need to hear it. Let us grow this hive of wisdom together. Until we meet again, live wisely and prosper. This has been Frugal Living UK. Goodbye for now.